Oof, I am all discombobulated right now. This is like the first show in like a year, it feels like. I don't know what button I'm pressing, but welcome to Roto Slappers. It is Tuesday night. We are 4 days away from your live draft in Las Vegas for the Scott Fish Bowl SFB 14. We are like, what are we, 2 months away from the fantasy football season. So we are gearing back up and we are getting ready to do this thing here at the Roto Slappers. You know who I am. I am Streets. I got the only other White Sox, Orlando Magic, Michigan fan sitting right next to me on this side. The green one, Mr. Sean. How you doing, buddy?
How's it going, man? How you doing? Happy to be back doing this.
I know. It feels like it's been like 2 years since we did this. I
Been
forgot
a,
how
it's
to
been a
load
while,
everything
for
and
sure.
like share the screen and do all this other crazy stuff. I lost all my mojo on StreamYard here.
We'll get it back.
Felt like it was a foreign language trying to do this, but yeah, that means football season's back if we're back. So that makes me very, very happy. Although it feels like I'm rushing. Does that ever feel like you're just rushing through summer just to get to football season?
You do. I don't like the heat anyway, so hey, bring on football. Let's just go spring straight into fall.
Yeah, that doesn't help when the stocks are that bad, right? That kind of kills all of.
They're unwatchable. I don't even bother anymore. When Jerry's gone, I'll be back.
That's a good way to put it, I guess. They are that miserable of a team, that miserable of a franchise to watch at this point. That's what Doc just chimed into, us poor Sox fans. But enough about the White Sox. We're not here to do that. We're here to actually break down the first round in our 2024 ranks here. PPR scoring, of course, and get that started. The meat and potatoes here, fantasy football. Let's just dive right in because I want to get you out of here because you're going to melt if I don't get you out of here.
We're good.
Soon.
We're good.
So,
we're good.
I don't mean that in like a diva way, either, people. It's like 100 degrees by him. Let's do this.
Miserable.
Let's do present. Let's see if I can remember how to do this like an idiot. Well, here we go. I can share screen, and we could do this. Allow. I got to take my banner dingy down here, right? So you people can see it too. And then...
There we go.
There we go. See? Now we're talking. So now I got my rankings up. I got your rankings up. They're side by side. Look at how nice that looks.
It's beautiful.
Very, very beautiful. I'm just kidding. I'm not that good at the graphics portion of this, but I did make it. So that's actually it does look pretty nice. Tim is here. What's up, buddy?
What's up, TK?
As he says, have a great trip.
Thank you, sir.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. Before we get into these rankings, I'll leave them up so people can see them. You want to explain what is going on this Saturday real quick?
So this Saturday, the Scott Fish Bowl 14 kicks off. There are 3 live drafts, I believe. There are Las Vegas, Fort Lauderdale, and I believe Cleveland, Ohio. I myself am drafting in Las Vegas. My buddy here, Streets, is coming out as my guest.
Yeah.
So we're going to be hanging out. He's going to be giving me his input on draft picks, just chat it up.
It's going to be until it gets too hot, and then I'm going to go hide inside. But then
it's going to be 108, 110. No big deal. Just get in the pool, right? Just get in the water. We're good.
That is cool.
It's going to be so much fun.
Not gonna lie.
It's going to be so much
Stadium swim is badass, dude.
Unbelievable. We'll get some little video clips for everybody. And then Sunday morning, 12:30 Eastern. It'll be 9:30 Pacific. We're going on the Scott Fish Bowl Podathon. We'll be on there live together for the first time. So that's going to be a blast. Everybody tune in for that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And
we'll be on for, I believe, 30 minutes. It's just a fun, good time.
No red eye for me this time either on that one. So thank goodness. Although, man, we got to go after some
Shane
big
Daddy
shot, dude.
Yeah.
Whew, that's some
big
tough shoes to follow when it comes to that.
Yes,
yeah. But that's going to be fun. I can't wait for Vegas. It's nice to get out of here. It's nice to actually it's really nice to go meet more of the SFB community. So that'll be fun too between
and the Scott Fish
Although
will be there.
I guess me, you too, awesome. But I feel like I've known you now for like a decade. So that even though technically
we're just separated at birth. Terrible
that is true.
Teams, it is what it is.
But and then so and then I'll do the Chicago live draft. So that'll be fun for me. But I actually have like a month till then still. So it's kind of
Right.
crazy. I get to watch.
This will be
all
good.
guys
You can just come and hang out. You don't have to worry about anything. Get some data, hang out, enjoy the sun. You're gonna come home looking like a lobster. It's gonna be great.
I've never been to Stadium Swim either. So Circa, by the way, Circa Sports is now a lot of Blackhawks fans are livid because Circa Sports is the patch for Circa is going on the Blackhawks sweater or jersey or something.
Hey,
as I just found out. So
Circa's big time. They're spreading. They got so many contests, and you're gonna love the sports.
I've seen pictures. It looks beautiful, so that'll be fun.
It is. Everything.
But all right, so let's get to this. So because I'm gonna turn this into many videos from us as we discuss our first round this year. PPR scoring. A lot of people play half point PPR now, but we're just gonna basic to just the PPR, the norm, and we'll go through our top 12. That's basically what we're gonna do. So the first one, there seems to be a pretty big consensus on who the number one pick here. I'm pretty stupid and dumb. We actually will agree on one there, so that's fun. Christian McCaffrey, we both have as one. No brainer for you.
100%. I mean, I guess some people might want to go CeeDee Lamb if they're anti-running back, but for me, McCaffrey gives you everything. He gives you receptions, he gives you rushing, he gives you touchdowns, and he doesn't come off the field, so you can't beat the production.
14 weeks he was an RB1 in last year scoring wise. 14 weeks. That's like every week you can basically pencil him in for 20 touches, and he's going to be an RB1 in fantasy points per game
every week.
Which is phenomenal. It's great. You all better hope I don't get a number one pick, because that's where it always fails whenever I have the number one pick. So as long as I don't get the number one pick and I end up with CMC, you guys are good.
Take somebody else.
Number two is where we're going to obviously get a little different here. So a lot different. I have Breece Hall and you have CeeDee Lamb. So you're going to go right from CMC right into the couple receivers then. And you got Lamb. I don't have Lamb till 5th. I have Tyreek Hill ahead of him too. So we can discuss that as well. Lamb for you. Why?
The Dallas offense, their targets are so funneled to certain people. And last year, Lamb just blew up. And I think he can have just as good, if not even better, potentially, season that he had last year. Dak's going to force him the ball. The biggest thing right now is they got to get him in camp. He wants to get that big contract like Jefferson got. A lot of the receivers, him and Chase and Ayuk, they want that money. And the longer the holdout goes, if it lasts in the training camp, it could be troublesome. But if they get him in there, he's going to eat. They have Ferguson, they have Cooks, they have some other young guys. But for me, Lamb, clear-cut number one receiver in my book.
So
monster season.
It's actually maybe a little ironic is the word I'm looking for when I say, remember the whole firing the OC, bringing in a new, and like he threw the ball too much and they do this and they do that. And then Dak Prescott throws 600 passes last year, basically.
And he might do
throws
that
even more. So he could. My fear is though, does he? And do 194 of them go to CeeDee Lamb again? Like, did we see CeeDee Lamb's absolute best season that he's ever going to put up?
I see what you're saying, but I can see him getting 200 targets. It's not out of the realm of possibilities for me personally.
Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have him as my wide receiver too. It's not like I'm not nitpicking him here. I have Tyreek Hill, just that you have Tyreek Hill 2. I have Tyreek Hill 1 in that matter. Hill's been wide receiver 2 now, 2-3 years in a row, basically is how he finished. Pretty consistently there. And I feel I know exactly what I'm going to get out of him.
I think he would have got 2,000 yards last year if he didn't get injured.
And then you always have that too. So that's what I was going to say. You got it. The goal for 2,000 he could potentially get to too. So that's why I kind of like Tyreek Hill in that manner. But you know me, the big thing for me why I have Breece Hall 2 and Bijan 3 is just getting that running back out of the way still. Even if it's PPR, all 3 of them are going to catch a ton of passes still this year. So they're going to get a heavy workload rushing the ball. They're going to get a heavy workload in receiving game. I mean, what? Brees Hall could be 1,800 yards. Breejon Robinson could be 1,800 total yards too. So like, I see monster seasons out of the three of them potentially. Getting one of them, and getting it out of the way for me just is the better play in my eyes and how I'd like to just build it. I think you're safer probably Lamb and Hill. I guess although last year the wide receiver thing didn't work out too much for a lot of people. Jefferson, Chase, a lot of these guys got hurt. So even they're not prone to do it. But if I could just get that running back out of the way, I come back around because you're not gonna in round two. Then actually, the round two is a weird year. We'll talk about that when we get to it. But round two, I almost like round three better than I like round two this year. Like I feel like
round
we're being
two
forced. Yeah, like we're being forced into taking guys and.
Right. You just take your guy that you want and you just hope for the best.
But that's kind of why I kind of like getting that running back out of the way. Like it's the hero RB strategy for the most part. I can get him. I can put him in, slot him in. I got my bell cow. I got my 20 touch a game guy, and then I can get some receivers in that second round. That's the reason I kind of do that. So I'm guessing you're just doing Lamb Hill though for safety. That's it. A little safer.
Yeah, I mean. Realistically, with those top five, it's your personal preference. I think. I mean, I can see a path where Bijan or maybe Brees Hall is RB1 this year. You know, Atlanta got Kirk Cousins. They got a new OC. He's going to catch the ball. They're going to use him, I think, properly. Unlike Arthur Smith, Brees, he's going to be healthy. They upgraded their offensive line. Aaron Rodgers, hopefully, he stays healthy beyond 4 snaps. And I just think sky's the limit for any of them. Any of those top five.
Yeah. I can Brees Bijan, you can switch them. I don't really at this point. I've been all in on Brees. I put him there a little higher, but I could see the Bijan. I could see either one really finishing as RB1. I'm not that surprised by it. And you have Hill too, so you like you said, 2,000 yards there. So 1 through 5, the same. Just a little bit of a different order. I want to get the running back out of the way regardless. You'll go a little safer. Now we get to 6 real quick here. And now we're the same with Jamar Chase. Now, I truly think Jamar Chase, we haven't even seen his best season yet. Deep down, I know he's been a wide receiver 1 for 3 years now, but wide receiver 10, like 9 and 8 or something. So we still haven't seen like that true just CeeDee Lamb type monster season.
Right.
Joe Burrow got hurt. We had Browning take over. All kinds of weird stuff has happened with Cincinnati there. So if I had, it's not a bold guess, but if I had to pick someone I think could be the wide receiver 1 by the end of the year, it's still Jamar Chase, especially in a full healthy year from Joe Burrow. So that's why I put him right there.
If he's healthy, Joe Burrow is healthy, sky's the limit. The only thing that has me lowering him a bit is the fact that T. Higgins is on the other side. And T. Higgins is, I mean, obviously when you look at what, with Jalen Waddle, he's elite, but they force feed the ball to Tyreek. CD doesn't Cooks, he's fine. But T. Higgins I think if he went to another team, he's a wide receiver 1. But in the circumstances, I think he might eat into Chase's workload a bit. And it's another contract year for him and Chase as well. So if Burrow stays healthy and Chase stays healthy, sky's the limit.
Yeah, to be honest, there's probably enough work to go around for the both of them. But by the way, T. Higgins, I love how they're like with Cincinnati posts. We've reached agreement on a 1-year deal with T. Higgins. So you worked out a better franchise tag, basically, is all you did.
Sign the contract and we put in front of you, and that's it. And then next year we'll see what happens.
Like we'll give you a little more money, but it's still only gonna be 1 year, and then you can go ahead and walk.
At least it's all guaranteed for them, so that's good.
I know Doc is a big T. Higgins guy, so so
I want to see him go somewhere else.
I don't know where would he go though. That would be an upgrade from where he's at now. So Buffalo,
that's the question. Well, they have bodies there. We'll see what Keon Coleman does. They got Curtis Samuel, Kincaid's their guy. And I know the OC Brady, he loves Shakir. I mean, when Brady took over, Shakir blew up. Diggs basically took a back seat in that offense. And he wasn't happy about it, obviously, and he's no longer there. And they might actually be better off. If you look at the way Kansas City was modeled last year, it was Kelsey and just a bunch of guys at receiver. Rashee Rice came on late. And I think Buffalo, when they took Kincaid, they looked at him to be their version of Travis Kelce.
So you say a name that brings up another team. Kansas City? I don't even know. Like, they're kind of crowded too now. So I don't know where T. Higgins would even go, where it's an upgrade from where he's at now. I don't.
That'll be interesting to see.
Hopefully, I'd prefer him to stay in Cincy, sign a long-term deal, stay there with Burrow and Chase, because I know what I'm getting out of him.
They can make it work.
Because, man, it's scary if, like, it's in one of those scenarios where he ends up like the third option or something on some
or
team.
If he goes to Pittsburgh or something.
Yep. Kupp, he's I know he's older, but there's still years left in that deal. So that one where he's going to see the Rams. I don't know if there's anywhere I could think of T. Higgins going that's better than the Bengals. I thought Buffalo would have been it, but they had an interesting offseason and Keon Coleman thing and all that other stuff. So I'm not even sure that's it anymore. But now we're talking about way later guys. Next, number 7. This is where we differ a little bit. Justin Jefferson for me, Amon-Ra for you. I'm a huge Amon-Ra guy. I love the Sun God. So this is probably one of my favorite players in the league. But I don't have him ranked higher than Jefferson here. So go ahead. Why Amon-Ra?
Honestly, for me, he's got the safety, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you can almost pen him in for 100 catches, 1,200, 1,300 yards, whatever, and probably 10 touchdowns. I feel like he's very safe. He's consistent. He's great. And he got paid. He's going to be in camp, and that's always a big deal with some of these guys. I have a hard time not taking him above Chase. I mean, there's been drafts that I've done that I've considered him at 5, just because I'm like, you know what you're getting. You're getting an elite guy. I just don't think that he has the same ceiling and upside as Jefferson. But I still prefer the floor on him. It's the safe pick, you know what I mean?
Yep, I get it. If I would have done the same, but when Jefferson finished last year, 4 weeks in a row, 10 plus targets, 14 that final week, like it's safe to say I think Kevin O'Connell's going to throw the football regardless. So it's Darnold. We're Michigan fans, so it's going to be interesting to see JJ go from like having to do nothing to getting to throw a football 30, 40 times a game out there each week, because that's the type of offense that he's going to. So I think Jefferson's good enough that if he just sees 12 to 14 targets a week, regardless, 10 targets like you saw the final month, he's still going to put up some solid numbers for you. And it's Jefferson. Like it's one of those types of guys where I just don't want to be on the opposite end of, well, I skipped over him for all these guys, and then I sit there getting crushed by him on a Sunday. And like he goes off for his 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has that Randy Moss type game, and I get destroyed in fantasy, and I'm going, what did I do? What I did, because I overthunk it, which we do a lot playing this game. It happens, but
happens a lot. But and for me, like Jefferson's my favorite non-49er, and I actually believe in Darnold. I think he had a rough go in New York with the Jets, and he had a couple flashes with the Panthers, and with us last year. They brought him in on the first day of free agency for a reason. I think he's going to end up being the starter to start the season in Minnesota. He can get the ball. He's got a good arm. He can get the ball to Jefferson down the field. Jefferson, like you said, was putting up numbers with Nick Mullins, and I mean, he can put up numbers with anybody. O'Connell's offense is that good. So.
Yep, and the volume will be there, so I'm not going to skip it. And then Amon-Ra, you are right. Like he's still a first round pick for me. I have him 8. Absolutely going to feast again this season. I don't necessarily. I'm not knocking him for any reason. Like I'm not one of those people. I'm not a Williams guy. I don't like Laporta is Laporta, and I'm sure he'll probably see the same. Yeah, so he'll eat. I don't. Efficiency wise, he wasn't not a big yak guy, Laporta, so he's going to need to score again to finish as that tight end 1. But regardless, I don't think that there's anybody really battling Amon-Ra
it's his
workload that he saw. So
receiver room
safe
for
play.
sure.
And then we agree on it. Yep. Then we agree again with AJ Brown. That's a safety play. Pretty sure. Like, I don't think he'll finish as the wide receiver 1. I just don't. But I'm pretty sure he'll be a top 10 wide receiver at the end of the season.
Easily.
So you're
I
getting
think
that safety net. So that's why.
you get Kellen Moore in there. He got paid, which again, that's something I always look at. He last year he had his moments where he was kind of a diva, but also he was a monster. I think that AJ Brown, he has that dark horse upside to be the wide receiver 1 in that offense. But the only thing is with Devontae Smith on the other side. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I can see AJ Brown. I can see a path for him if they force him the ball. He's good enough. He can do everything.
So there's.
It's just.
By the way, Doc agrees with you on Lamb. So that on the
good man
workload from Lamb. It's like, man, if you take him 2, he absolutely has to be what he was last year. So, but I guess it makes sense. Like you don't. I guess he doesn't. He just needs to be top 5 when you're taking him. So, I think Hill can just get to 2,000. And I'm a little safer there. I worry more about Dak, I think, than I do Lamb, if that makes sense. That might be more what it is. I've seen Dak just be bad too, and even though he was great last year, I've seen it almost like
right. It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Dak just sucked next year, and all of a sudden,
like the playoff game against Green Bay.
Yep, and then they don't let him throw the football.
His numbers, right, and his numbers finished at the end of that Green Bay game. They were solid, but a lot of that was garbage time. So it wasn't efficiency. It was just we're down by 20-some points. We got to keep throwing.
And then the AJ Brown thing, the only thing that I put him, I still have him ranked here, but the only thing that worries me a little now is, speaking of the offensive coordinator, we mentioned him before. He gets a new gig now. His third team here in like 3 years.
I'm throwing the Chargers out. He had
that is true.
Let's not.
Dallas. No, the Dallas offense was top 5 every year, or top 10, top 5 really every year under him at some point.
Just Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, it wasn't Kellen Moore's fault. So I think the offense could be good, but the one thing that I had saw was the receiver that they use in motion a lot more out of the slot. It seems to be the one who has the big season, and that's more how Devontae Smith lines up and operates in that offense than AJ Brown. And I'm not saying this doesn't mean that Devontae Smith's going to have a better season than AJ Brown. I'm not saying that, but I do think that we could see more of the 2022 version of both of them again, in a sense, where both of them were they both finished like a top 12 wide receiver that season. It was close, at least. I think Smith was pretty close in there. So I do think that Smith could actually pull closer to AJ Brown though this season. So if that is the case, maybe the way you pay for something price wise, I actually love Devontae Smith where he's going, by the way. That's like a 3rd, 4th round pick. I think it's a nice sneaky one because he does have that upside, like I just said, based on the usage of how they do that in a Kellen Moore offense. But needless to say, AJ Brown probably going to be a top 10 wide receiver, so a safe pick there. And he got paid too, so you don't have to worry about that, right? Yep. They worked out another deal with AJ Brown, another thing you don't have to worry about again. So
I like to follow the money.
Yep, because then you don't have to worry about camp, and they're there, they're practicing, everybody's ready to go, and much easier to deal with than you got. I know you got a couple guys on your 49ers team right now. Unfortunately, not in that.
It's a constant struggle year after year. It's offense is defense. It's offense is defense. There's always somebody getting paid, which is a sign of a good team.
I was going to say that's probably a good thing.
But it weighs on your nerves a bit. We need to get Ayuk paid and get him in camp.
Next, we're going to talk about BA probably a lot in the next one. But next, number 10, I have Jahmyr Gibbs and you have Puka Nacua. I have him 11, so it's not like we're too far off on this one. But 1st round wide receiver for you too, even though he was just a rookie last year. Not worried about anything. Not worried about being a fluke. Nothing, right? You're locking him in.
I'm not. I think with
some of the
Stafford throwing him the ball, and McVay, he's right up there with the best as a play caller. And if Kupp can stay healthy, I think he'll eat into some of Puka's work. But at the same time, Kupp hasn't been healthy since the Super Bowl season. I mean, he's had flashes, but it's just been like one thing after another. And I was wrong on Puka last year. I didn't think he was going to be what he was. I was wrong on that one completely. He was money for so many teams late free agency. They picked him up after week 1, and he changed team seasons. You know, you're getting a 1,000+ yard receiver that late.
He changed dynasty teams from going rebuilds to like contender in immediate second.
Exactly, so, just like that.
And those metrics, some of the underlying metrics are phenomenal. Like not fluky at all. And I agree on the McVay thing. There's room for 2 of them regardless.
Right.
That whole system has always been a 2 wide receiver system. They're going to throw the football out with McVay. And you nailed it. Cooper Kupp, you might eat into it. When they're both on the field together, it's more of an even split at times on targets, but they're both putting up at least wide receiver 2 numbers when they're still both on the field together. Obviously, each one gets a spike week as they switch off who scores a touchdown or who has a 2-touch, like the big week, and then the next week the other guy's the big week, and it kind of switches off in that sense. But what you said was Cooper Kupp can't stay healthy. So at the very least, you have a back end wide receiver 1. And if Kupp were to go down at all, now you have a top. You're going to rank him top 5 in your wide receiver rankings in any week that Kupp's out. So you potentially have either a top 12 or a top 5 ranking wide receiver. So that's an easy one for me too in the back end of the first round. And it's kind of nice because you can pair him. Like you don't have one guy that I'm going to talk about on here. Neither one of us have Saquon on here, but like if you do take a Puka in round 1, there are some running backs I do like that you can get in round 2 too. So you can do that, and it's like the opposite. You still get the running back that you like and a bona fide stud at wide receiver. So it's a nice pairing in rounds 1 and 2. For me, you have him at the back end of round 1. I have him at 10. Jahmyr Gibbs, I don't like. There's just magic when you watch him touch a football and go as he picked up steam last year. I know there's a little workload worry with him because Monty's there. Monty's last year, though, by the way, I think, right? I think they can get out of it this year. I don't think it was like
I believe it was a 3-year deal, but I'm not totally sure.
I think it was 3, and I think 2 they could get out after. So it could be Monty's. I don't quote me on this. I'm not exactly sure what I'm on that, but either way, that's how a lot of running back contracts are. Usually, most of them you can get out anyway. The second year, but I see more work for Jahmyr Gibbs. But even not, I think the workload that we saw the second half of last year is probably enough to make him a top 5 running back easily this season. And he's going to pull off some huge plays, some plays that were just making Chris Berman go whop and all kinds of fun stuff Sunday night watching him play. Like he's just a special player. So I just don't. I would take him right after the safety nets, basically. Puka is just because it was a rookie, and like I have I don't really have doubts. We're nitpicking doubts when we're going first round guys. That's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
That I'd rather have the top 5 running back over Puka at this point. Is kind of how I would do it. In case there was any fallback on there, I'm more sure of Gibbs being just a superstar. That's why. So fantasy.
Oh, he's definitely explosive. I was wrong. He's another guy last year. I felt like when he first started out, he was going in rounds like 3-4, and he started to push up.
He says Green Bay Buffalo for Higgins, by the way. So I could tell he's.
I don't know because the thing with Green Bay is they have so many guys there. You know, they have 4 guys.
Don't they have like 7 wide receivers?
And they just spread it around. And I think that system works. We'll have to see.
Even Denver, he said. Denver's not a bad one, actually.
Yeah, they just need to get that quarterback situation. If Nix is the guy,
that's true. Because Sutton's 32 or something, right? So
yeah, he's probably this is probably his last year. He might even get traded. You know, they drafted Troy Franklin, and that was Nick's teammate in Oregon. So,
but go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off on Gibbs.
No, you're good. I was just saying, I was kind of wrong because I didn't know where to take him, and towards the start of the season, he was pushing up to second round, and I felt like that was a little rich. And then he had some injuries. They have Monty, but it works. Monty he's the guy. He's the grinder. He's going to get the hard yards. He's going to get the goal line stuff. But Gibbs can turn a little dump off pass into a 60-yard house call.
Yep,
just like that. he's got that explosive upside, and I believe he outscored Monty in less, depending on what format you're using, in less games and less, even less touches. So the upside is immense with him, and it's better that he doesn't get the full workload, in my opinion. You look at
I agree.
A guy like that who's that explosive. I mean, they're going to find ways to get him the ball. And you saw, was it Brett Holmes, the Lions GM, when they got him, they were pounding the table and clapping, and they knew what they were getting. And it just took a little bit, but once he got clicking there at the end, blew up.
It's just, you don't even want to know. I made the dumbest trade. So I had one team. I killed it. This auction. If anybody's never done an auction league, by the way, get out there and do an auction league. Auction leagues are so fun because you can memorize every platform's ranking, and you can master the ADP, and you know where the values are and what's left if you take a guy here in this position. Like, you can play chess doing a draft. An auction, one little whoops, or like you wait just one or two players too long, you just throw your whole draft off, because it's not as simple as a snake draft. You got to have a little bit more strategy when you go into it, and make sure that you capitalize and nail that strategy while you're doing it. Got to find values.
You can go get anybody you want. If you want to spend the money, and you get it. If you want Jefferson and Chase, go get them. But it's just going to hurt you elsewhere.
Yeah, and if you go McCaffrey, Jefferson, and they stay healthy the whole season, you're probably going to be fine. Right. That's how it goes. But one of them gets hurt,
your depth is going to be minimal. But yeah,
so that's what's fun about an auction.
It's so much fun.
And last year, I had I had an awesome auction. I spent so much money in 2022 that I went into this auction going, all right, I'm gonna capitalize and do this right this year. I'm gonna spread it out, find the values, get my guys. I had Anthony Richardson as quarterback, cheap too. I got him, and I actually had a decent backup. I forgot who. I had Goff too, so I had both of them. And then I had Kenneth Walker, and I forgot who another running back, but the second one's not going to matter. Wide receiver, I had Chase, Keenan Allen, and who was it? I know I had three monster, and Amon-Ra. So 3 awesome wide receivers, and then I had Sam Laporta is who I had at tight end. This team was, and then I got a trade offer in week 2 with Travis Kelce in it, and he wanted Kenneth Walker, Sam Laporta, and I forgot one of the receivers or something like that. So we worked out a deal, and I did it where I got Travis Kelce back, and it worked, and it did not pay off. Let's just put it that way. Like, Sam Laporta ended up basically matching Travis Kelce in every which way. And then I lost. Yep. And then I lost the rest of the guys also in that trade. So it kind of all started falling. Oh, and Jahmyr Gibbs, that was the guy. I knew we were talking just about him. So I had Gibbs and Walker. I had kept Gibbs, but he wasn't doing anything after that trade. He didn't really explode till the second half of the season.
Right.
So that team started off like I was 1-5 in that league. So I ended up trading Gibbs. After that draft too, still 1-5. As crazy as that sounds. So I ended up trading Gibbs for Ramondre Stevenson and something else at that point to a team that was ahead, and it worked because it got me 2 wins. Because Ramondre actually outscored Gibbs for 2 weeks. So that trade I ended up getting back to 6-6 that season, but I needed Gibbs that final week to really do anything. So it didn't really pay off for me that much, but I clawed back. I know, but I clawed all the way back. I made 19 trades in that league last year. 19 just to claw that team back to 6-6, but I did it. That's just when you don't want to give up. See, there's always something. There's always a move to make.
Never give up.
But yeah, so next we'll get back to this. Sorry. We don't want to talk bad trades just yet. Garrett Wilson, you got at 11. First rounder for you. It's close because I have him at 13, so it's not like I'm too far off here. He doesn't quite crack my top 12, but as long as Aaron Rodgers is around, you're locked in with Garrett Wilson, huh?
Oh yeah. He You saw last year, I don't know if you watched Hard Knocks. He loved Garrett Wilson. He was raving about, the way he runs his routes. And Garrett Wilson's a stud. He's been a stud since college.
I think
He's put up numbers
yeah.
with bum quarterbacks. When Rodgers went out 4 plays in, Zach Wilson, was it they had Mike White the year before. He finds a way to get open. He gets the ball. He's explosive. He's another guy. He just a lot of people are afraid of it because it's the Jets offense, which I understand. But at the same time, there's 2 players in my first round, and a lot of that for me stems off the fact that they did rebuild their offensive line. They made a lot of good pickups. They're older and they're susceptible to injury, but these guys are explosive. They can change games. And
I think
I like that Ranger receiver for him. It's hard for me to not take him.
I think you're right, and I think Garrett Wilson's going to be the guy who probably makes the jump and could easily be top 5 wide receiver, especially with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think anyone's seen worse quarterback play than Garrett Wilson did last year.
No, he's done so much with nothing.
Yep, and he still was decent. I mean, it wasn't great, but he was still a wide receiver too. With some of the worst, god awful quarterback play we've seen, and really with no one else either. Like all the attention on him.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they went out and got Mike Williams.
I was just gonna say,
healthy. We'll see.
Corley, the rookie, nice little addition. I like him as a rookie. I don't know if he'll make a big impact like fantasy wise in year 1, but
probably not this year.
But I do like him long term. Mike Williams helps when he's on the field if he can stay healthy. Hopefully, for a little while. And then obviously Breece Hall. So that offense, yeah, I think the offense could go. It's a Hall of Famer. That is the quarterback. As long as everything's good on that Achilles and he maintains it, I don't see why Garrett Wilson. That's just the thing. That's the only reason I put him. I guess it doesn't matter at 12. If I put him at 13, it could be 12 because you're getting both anyways.
Right.
Like my perfect pairing for Garrett Wilson for me, it would be him and Jonathan Taylor. Like I would love to walk out of there with Garrett Wilson and Jonathan Taylor, or like how I have it ranked here, Jonathan Taylor and then Garrett Wilson. That's kind of how I would do it. I don't know where you're going to put Taylor in the next round, but if you're even if as high as him as I am, but for me, Jonathan Taylor, I put there because we've seen it. I've seen him finish as the RB1 in fantasy football, and I truly think. I know that there's a little bit of fear with Anthony Richardson vulturing touchdowns as long as he stays healthy, but I think the overall rushing attack of that offense between that 2-headed monster of them is enough that where Jonathan Taylor can easily be a top 5 running back from again. I don't need him to be the number 1 running back if I'm getting him right at the end of there, but I absolutely think he could be top 5, and I think his workload is I think he'll have a bigger workload than Jahmyr Gibbs. So like. Workload wise, he's going to be a bell cow.
Oh yeah,
it's just the touchdowns. That's it. It's just the touchdowns that we worry about getting vultured by a rushing quarterback, like it happens with all these teams. But I think he'll make up for it though in volume and everything else that he can do on the field. So that's why I would like to pair him with Garrett Wilson. I think the 2 of them together,
it's a great start.
Draft is a good start. Or Gibbs and Wilson, you could probably get 2 if you're doing it that way. And a lot of them I know. Which is another great start. So that's the only reason I do that. So I don't know where you have Taylor, but
and everybody has different preferences. There's so many people that are just anti-running back, and they're going to take, the receivers there at 12. They're going to 12, 13 receiver, no matter what. When we get to the later ranks, it's interchangeable. Really, it's all about. I think it's a lot of personal preference in there.
I like
the players are good.
I'm so happy you brought that up. By the way,
how do you want to build your team? That's ultimately what it comes down to.
Look, I think anti-running back has gone so far and gotten like it's too big now. It doesn't work when half your league is doing zero RB. Yeah. There's no such thing as it anymore. That's the thing. If half of you are doing it, what it means is that means 5 other teams are also going to be trying to attack all the running backs that you're attacking at the end of that draft. So then you might not get all of them. Zero RB worked when it was just you doing it. Because then all you could just draft 4 or 5 running backs in a row towards when you get to your bench and stuff but the problem is now you have half the league is looking for those guys because they need a running back too. So it just does not work when half your league is doing it, which is probably why as someone who I used to joke RB doesn't matter and blah, 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 blah. And in real life, I get it. It's made me more of an Arby's guy again. Get meaty. I love my Arby's again, because of that. Like now I
Arby's or
prefer to.
RB?
Well,
You said you get
shout
meaties
out to
from
the FC Eliminators, by the way. That's where now I can't stop saying Arby's. So I did one of the Arby's leagues, or I did the Arby's where you only start running backs. It's kind of fun that everybody's just starting running backs. And it's actually kind of funny that some of like the people, like other players in it, are people who are big zero RB players that are playing in an Arby's league. So
it's just pulling on. They're like, who do I take? I don't want to do this.
But it makes me kind of want them now again. Like, know your league, really. If you play with all zero RB guys, take a wide receiver in round 1 and then scoop the value of a running back in round 2, because then you can match them with
because guys are going to push. If they don't want the running back, they push him down. Like, I understand, depending, it all depends on your format. Obviously, like when people draft an underdog, you have to start 3 receivers. So a lot of teams will go 3 receivers to start. But sometimes you get to the point where guys are falling, and it's like, why am I passing these points up for a lesser receiver? I'm not. Me personally, I'm not.
Oh, I know. Yeah. So underdog is a good. Whenever I go on there, I just like, I don't know what to do. My brain melts when I start looking at like the rankings, and I see like Jaden Reed and George Pickens are like going ahead of Kyren Williams, and like
I'm okay with it. I'm anti. I'm out on Kyren.
See, I would still take Kyren at that point over those receivers, regardless, because you're at like wide receiver 28 at that point. There's just no way I'm going to take those guys over. And this is in the tier that's there is the Kyren. I'm just using him, but that's the tier that's still there. So like it could be ETN, Kyren, all those guys are still on the board there.
Right.
Over those wide receivers. So even if Kyron's not your preference, the guys around him I'd still absolutely take over. Jaden Reed, I just can't comprehend that. Like we just talked about Green Bay and 7 wide receivers. I like Jaden Reed, but wow, is he going? These people just piss wide receivers in those things. Whew.
It's brutal.
I'll take.
If you fall behind, it's tough to catch up.
Yeah, I'm not a big best baller though, so I guess that's probably why. I don't play a whole lot of it. It's not my. I probably should play more of it because I don't have to, like, do waivers. Yeah, that's where I'm going to be. Where I hate my life by halfway through the season because of waivers, trying to do them for 20 leagues. But at the same time, like, it's just so random a lot of times in best ball and everybody drafts so differently that it's just beyond. I don't have the. Once the season ends, we get back into dynasty startups, and I always say I'm not going to do one, but I do one, and then Scott Fishbowl starts so early.
Yeah.
That's like the kickoff to redraft then, so that gets going, and it's like I can mock draft for that, and I just don't need best ball. Like best ball was great when you needed to do football year round because you could jump right into best ball drafts the season ended, but now at dynasty and SFB and everything else, like I don't really need to do it. So I'm already doing a million drafts as is, so I don't really necessarily do it. But yeah, I'm gonna start back to this. I can see myself this year we'll preview the next 12. I'm not gonna officially put a rankings out for it yet, but like I can see myself starting many leagues this year, like Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, and Taylor and Saquon as an RB2. And just first 2 rounds, I'm already 2 running backs deep. Just warning you that it's probably going to be that way in a lot of leagues for me.
Well, you can if you do start that way, you've locked in 2 studs, 2 bell cows. They're going to get so much work. Barkley in round 2, JT. However you want to play it. Derrick Henry, even. It just depends on how you want to build your team, and there's just so much variance you can do with the receivers at that point. Because while everybody else is chasing running backs,
like the Roto Slappers fantasy baseball is sinking because you're nowhere to be found. You got to get out there and start talking some baseball. But thanks for tuning in, Blake. Sorry. You see the Astros thing too on his picture?
No.
Yeah, Astros.
Bregman's from here, so it's like.
Oh, is he?
He went to high school here in Albuquerque. He comes back.
That's
he hosts baseball academy, little things for kids and whatnot. Got to go meet him. It's cool. He's a cool guy. His dad's a big lawyer here.
Look at that. See, New Mexico
salsa, Breggy bomb salsa. It's everywhere.
Alex Bregman and Breaking Bad. A lot of bees.
Yeah, right. Everyone loves Breaking Bad.
But yeah,
Good show.
who do you previewing the next round? What kind of guys? You don't have to tell us where they're going to rank, but what players you think will be popping up in there?
Well, I can tell you for me, I'm going to have JT, Barkley, Marvin Harrison Jr., Derrick
Ooh,
Henry
see,
is in there for
interesting.
me.
Marvin Harrison, huh?
I've seen a lot of him going around the 1-2 turn, in that range. And I don't know where to rank him yet. Obviously, his upside.
That's a good way. I like that.
immense.
I don't know where to rank him yet because that's exactly how I feel.
Exactly. It's kind of, but he's the kind of guy who can give you that round 1 production you get in round 2, possibly,
Yep.
Kyler's back. He's healthy. They've been working together. I think that offense is going to produce some players. And also, depending on what your format is, if you're tight end premium, so those tight ends are getting in round 2. You're looking at Laporta. You're looking at Kelsey. It just depends on how you want to build your team. But there's so many players that you can interchange in there. Devontae Adams for some yes, some no. Ayuk, another one in there. It's some people are taking shots on Neighbors, late round 2, early 3, because of his upside. It's the unknown and the potential for, can this guy be, OBJ, whoever, Puka, right? And people want to have that on their team.
So we were talking about earlier. Second round is just the kind of a round. Like, I don't know if it's not my favorite round at all right now in fantasy, but it's just not. It's a lot of guys that you're just going to have to take. At least Marvin Harrison, you're right, offers legitimate top end wide receiver 1 upside. It could easily be finished as a top 5 wide receiver. Like, it's easily in the realm of possibility. So you do get the upside there out of him there. It's hard to put a rookie there, but he's going to step right in day 1 to just a monster target share. Yep. And there's only 2. To me, as I also love Trey McBride, but there's just 2 people catching passes in Arizona. So I've seen Kyler Murray throw almost 480, 500 passes in a season. So I think that's plenty, by the way, if you're just throwing to 2 people. I know Michael Wilson, but I'm not an overly big fan of him. It's going to be in Dortch, no thanks. It'll be a 2-man show on that one. So yeah, you are right. And I have him. He's in my round 2 too. Like, I just don't know. I battle like Marvin Harrison or Chris Olave.
Which quarterback do you trust more?
Kyler. So I do, but Derek, I don't think the quarterback in New Orleans is he's not good.
Well, one thing about New Orleans though, they brought Kubiak over from the 49ers. He was an OC in Minnesota back in 21, I think. And that offense is going to be better now, I believe. They're working Taysom Hill in. They're going to have some different wrinkles. Michael Thomas is gone. I love Rashid Shaheed this year.
And for fantasy, like feeding a wide receiver purpose, I don't think Carr's that bad. He's not great. Like a real, you're not going to win a Super Bowl with Derek Carr.
You know what you're getting with Carr.
Correct. You got like the 16th best quarterback in the NFL or something like that.
Yeah,
something like that. So that's what you got. It's good enough. It's good enough for Olave to be a wide receiver 1. So that's why I have trouble with that. Obviously, I would take Harrison though over Michael Pittman and Drake London though.
Oh yeah,
who I have there still.
So and London's another one. Everyone's very high on London, and I understand why. With bringing in Kirk Cousins, they got the new OC, new scheme. I don't know where to rank Drake London yet.
He's going to come in at the end of round 2 for me. It's going to be at the end. And I'd much rather pay 3rd round capital for Drake London. That's where I'd like to take him, and I hope I can get him there.
Yeah, unfortunately, it seems.
But I don't think you're going to. Like, I
he's
think
going early mid 2.
Yep.
But you have other guys getting pushed down, and Devontae Smith, he's going in that later, like the late 2, early 3. Jalen Waddle is another one in there. It's just all about personal preference. I think some guys,
like I have London, the wide receiver 14 exactly. That's where I have him on mine. So
here's my thing. How do you look at like Drake London, Marvin Harrison Jr.? They're wide receiver 1 on their team, but then you have guys like Waddle, you have Devontae Smith, T. Higgins. These guys are the wide receiver 2 on their own team, but people will take them over a clear cut wide receiver 1, like with Olave. And I have a hard time doing that. I like Devontae Smith and Waddle and whatnot, but it's hard for me. And DK Metcalf's another one. Like they got the Washington Huskies OC. I think their offense might be even better this year, throwing the ball.
You want to know what?
But DK gets pushed back.
I like Waddle. If I start running back, if I could start, like let's say I start Breece Hall and Saquon Barkley in a draft, I like Jalen Waddle then in that third round. I like him more so when I'd go RB because the ceiling's there. It's more of a long shot. It's not, it's all upside, but it's not a lock. Like, if I'm picking in round 2, I'd rather have the lock. Give me the safer, the floor is what I'm banking on there. And that's why I'd still take all those guys over Waddle and the rest of them. Like I already got 2 stud running backs. I can gamble it a little bit more. Round 2, no. Give me Chris Olave and give me the floor over the other guys then still. That's kind of what
it depends on, and it depends on what you're playing. You know, if it's just the home league, you know, you can but if you're like a big like
Mr.
For me,
High
FFPC,
Stakes.
Yeah, in the high stakes world, you got to kind of take the upside because, you know, if you do make the playoffs, you're chasing so many different builds, and you know when you have to set your lineup, it's tough, and you need to have some variance.
So it's almost like the Scott Fish thing in a sense, like when you have to be different in a sense. You have to take the calculated risk, and then in order to it makes sense. That makes high risk, or that makes your high stakes even more nerve-wracking to me.
It's definitely challenging because because you're like, you know, a guy like Waddle, who I think last year was kind of a down year for him. I expect him to bounce back this year. But do I take him over Chris Olave? Right? It's like
the ceiling. They both could be. By the way, they both could be wide receiver 1s. But you're right. Waddle could explode to be wide receiver 5 in the season with 2 in that offense.
He's got that kind of upside.
Yep.
But you know, it's like, well, you know, I'd take him over Olave. You know, Devontae Adams, a target hog.
But Olave is going to see more the bigger workload to me, more catches probably, PPR safer floor with Chris Olave then. So, like the one thing there's someone had told me this last year too. I forgot who, but now I see what they were talking about. Like an SFB, you can play it safe and make the playoffs every year. It's easy. Because there'll be plenty of guys there when you're drafting to take just to play it safe, but you can't really do that because you got to separate at the end. So you're going to need to hit. You got to take the calculated risk, so that's basically how you build, though. That's what builds are. So that's what I was telling you. You go running back, then Waddle works out better. If I'm going wide receiver in 2, I'm going to take that safer floor.
Right.
But yeah. So before we wrap up, I'm going to let you go through yours real quick here, your top 12, and quickly recap why each guy's where they're at.
All right. Well, for me, McCaffrey, he's a no-brainer number 1. He gives you the rushing, the receiving, and the touchdowns, and the workload is locked in. CeeDee Lamb, I think he can get 200 targets this year. They're going to throw the ball so much in Dallas. He's only dealing with Ferguson and Brandon Cooks. He's just a target hog. He's a monster. Tyreek, last year, I think he would have cracked 2,000 yards if he didn't get injured. I think the potential is there for him to do it again. Bijan, new offensive coordinator. They're going to use him. They said they want to use him and Breece Hall. They both want to use him like McCaffrey, which means heavy rushing, receiving, touchdowns. Chase, if Burrow's healthy, Chase, sky's the limit. You know, he could blow up. He's a monster. Amon-Ra, he gives you that safe floor with all the catches. He can still get you 1,000 yards, double-digit touchdowns. Jefferson, who I love, his quarterback situation isn't as ideal, but himself as the player, again, sky's the limit. He can turn any pass into a long touchdown. The speed, he's like a young Randy Moss. You know, just he's so fun to watch, and it's just he's a tough one. It's just the quarterback. It's a tough one, but if you believe in Darnold at all, you believe in JJ McCarthy, you take Jefferson. AJ Brown, another guy I absolutely love. I'm not passing on him in this range of the draft because, like I said, to me, he's a dark horse for a wide receiver 1. Maybe not the overall 1, but he can push into that top, 3 or 4, in my opinion. I love the new offense. He's got a steady quarterback with Hurts, and he got paid. So, Puka, again, Stafford, he's a vet. He knows where to go with the ball. He's got one of the best play callers in football with McVay. If Kupp can stay healthy, I think it eats into him a little bit. but Kupp hasn't been a body of health over the last couple of years. Garrett Wilson, keep Rodgers on the field. That's a big if, but he's done well with less at quarterback, and I think the sky's the limit this year for him too. He's going to be a steal for somebody. I think as long as he stays healthy and Rodgers is healthy. And then Gibbs, I like his upside. Turn any little pass or rush into a 60-yard house call every time. You got Montgomery there grinding out the tough yards. Gibbs comes in after the defense is worn down and just explodes. No linebackers covering him out of the backfield. With the rushing and receiving for him, he's going to score double-digit touchdowns this year.
Boom. Look at that. And there's the green ones. Mr. Sean's top 12. And I'm glad you did that because I'm going to go through mine too while we're doing this real quick. But because then now I can really break us into some fun videos for everybody. So stay tuned out there for a lot of shorts. That'll be fun. And anyways, number 1, I have Christian McCaffrey. No brainer. Easy slam dunk. I told you before, 14 weeks. He was an RB1 last season. 14 weeks. Easy 20 touches. Also in an awesome offense. They're going to, I hate you for that, but I'm just kidding. I was
so excited when we traded for him.
I just hope one day I can have an offense like that.
You see, moves. You're like, oh God, I wish the Niners had somebody like Christian McCaffrey. And the night the trade happened, I remember I was sitting on my couch, and one of my friends texted me. He goes, "CMC." I was like, "What?" And I looked, and I was like,
"You don't even need him. You don't even need him."
Oh, we do. He's the catalyst. He's the offense.
Look, somehow you'd still get your way into an NFC Championship game without Christian McCaffrey.
and then lose a Super Bowl.
I know, I get it, but you'd still get there. I like you got a good head coach. I like your team. I like
you got to seal the deal.
I like Brock Purdy too. But yeah, McCaffrey is just the cherry on top. Absolute bona fide stud for sure. Breece Hall, I got to number 2. That's my RB2. My 1B. If in a sense, I guess I'm going to put him. I see 1,800 yards out of Breece Hall this year. I could see 1,000 rushing yards, 800 receiving yards. I think heavy usage in the pass game. Aaron Rodgers is back, so I think that offense is going to move. I think that offense is going to score. So there's more touchdown upside there for Breece Hall this year. As long as he stays healthy, I see an easy top 5 finish for him. The next guy who could be, this is tough. Between these two, it is very hard for me to pick. Bijan is right there with Breece Hall. He's right there with the 3 of them. To me, are just in a different island right now compared to just the rest because it's a heavy workload. All 3 catch passes too, so you're going to get receiving work out of them. And I wouldn't be shocked if Bijan Robinson also finishes as RB1 when the season's over with this season in fantasy football. Like, if you told me Bijan Robinson was RB1, I'd go, okay, I believe it, because that's how good he is too. And they got Kirk Cousins, so I think that offense is going to be much better. They're going to score more also. And with Arthur Smith gone, you're not going to see on a 1st and 2 inside the 2-yard line, you're not going to see some weird stuff. Bijan will be out there. So I see the touchdown upside there too for Bijan. A little bit more than we saw last year. 4 for me, Tyreek Hill. Slightly ahead of CeeDee Lamb. I told you it's more of a Dak Prescott thing for me on why I put Tyreek Hill there. Tyreek Hill, I know what Tua is. Tua can't really get worse to me. He can only get better. And Tyreek Hill still has been the wide receiver 2 years in a row in that offense. And like you said, could have probably would have passed 2,000 yards had he not gotten hurt. So there's 2,000-yard potential there for Tyreek Hill. CeeDee Lamb comes in next. Slight bump just because of Dak. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. If Dak turns into a pumpkin this season again and doesn't throw 600 passes, the CeeDee Lamb see 200 targets again this season and finish as the wide receiver 1. But bona fide top 5 pick still for me. Jamar Chase. And number 6 for me. As long as Joe Burrow stays healthy, I see an easy path for Jamar Chase to finish as the wide receiver 1 as well this year. I don't think we've seen the best of Jamar Chase. We certainly haven't seen his best season yet. Number 7, Jay Jettis, baby, Justin Jefferson. I just don't want to be the guy who sits on his couch and throws my hat at the TV because I just got burned by Justin Jefferson for 203 touchdowns or something out there, because that's just the type of player that he is. And I'm not going to miss out on that. it's regardless of who the quarterback is there, the that system is going to throw the football. They're going to throw the football a lot. We saw it with 4 quarterbacks last year. And at the end of the season, he saw 10 plus targets in all those games with Joe Schmo out there playing quarterback. So I like
baby.
Darnold. I actually like Nick Mullins. A little too much.
I liked him in San Francisco.
But I like Darnold. I think he'll be good as long as however long he plays, and then we'll see JJ. But I think JJ has the tools to do it. So I think I'm still in on Justin Jefferson. Pretty easy. Next up for me, number 8, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I see the same exact season he had last year. Same exact. I don't see anything different. Not worried about a workload going down because Jamison Williams has some up, takes the next step. Don't see it. Sam Laporta will get his. Amon-Ra is going to be what Amon-Ra was last year, which is still top 5 wide receiver. He got Jared Goff. I like the whole offense there. So Amon-Ra still first round. Next, A.J. Brown. As we're going back-to-back Browns on this to me. AJ's the safe play. You said you went bold. Well, that's not that bold, but you said he could be a wide receiver 1 overall for the season. You wouldn't be shocked. I still think he'll be top 10 wide receiver. I do think, like I was saying before, I think Devontae Smith has a better season than he had last year, and they closed the gap a little bit. But I still, A.J. Brown contract is settled. You don't have to worry about that. He'll be there. He'll be playing. I like his quarterback. I like everything about him. So he's just a safety net. Jahmyr Gibbs comes next for me at number 10. He's a home run. That is a home run pick. Like every time he touches the football, it's a home run waiting to happen. He's a special player. He's fun to watch. I think what we saw the second half of last season on Jahmyr Gibbs, we're going to get a full year of this upcoming season. I know Monty's going to get his, and they're going to use Monty in the same situations they used last year, but it's not going to knock Jahmyr Gibbs. It's not going to he's still going to be a bona fide top 5 running back this season. Don't overthink it. Next, Puka Nacua. The sensational rookie from last year. As we discussed, there's not too much worry there for a sophomore slump. The Rams system, another one, that McVay system, very, very friendly to 2 wide receivers. So even if Cooper Kupp is on the field for a season with him, you're still getting probably a top 12 wide receiver each week. But then, as you also alluded to, Cooper Kupp is not on the field for a full season. So the weeks that Cooper Kupp is not on the field, you are going to rank Puka Nacua probably a top 5 option that week. So you might get a top 12 option for 6 weeks, and you might get a top 5 option for 6 weeks if it boils down to it. So with that being said, Puka, easy slam dunk first round pick for me. And then number 12 for me is Jonathan Taylor. He finished as the RB1 2 years ago. Last year, I think the high ankle sprain that he got, he tried to kind of play through it. He rushed back a little bit too much. He just wasn't himself. This year, I think Anthony Richardson, hopefully he learns how to not take the hits that he was taking last year. Yeah, he got to stop that. But that rushing attack could be special between the two of them. And I know there could be a little bit of touchdown worry as Richardson vultures a few of them, but not enough to knock him out of the first round for me because I think Jonathan Taylor has top 3-4 running back potential once again this season.
Yeah. Can't argue there.
But that's how we have them ranked. Now we'll see how close we come. The one I know, CD Lamb, I'm going to get roasted on him. Man, that one, rightfully everybody has him like 2. I know. Doc already coming at me. You have him ranked 2. That's going to be the one where people are, what are you, stupid are you, putting him at 5?
But hey, if he does finish behind Tyreek, hey, you're the man because you nailed it. I'm bullish.
The thing is,
I'm buying a better season.
I have him at 5, but I still have him as the second wide receiver being taken. So he's a top 2 wide receiver option for me in the draft. I just want to grab one of those 3 running backs and if I can get one. That's just how I kind of look at it for me. And that's the only reason he's sitting at 5. Otherwise it wouldn't be like that. It's nothing personal. It does matter. See, so Doc coming in. I think he's a little behind, but he says it does matter what running back scarcity. And I agree. I don't want some of these dead zone guys like, I'm okay. I don't, if you get to round 5 and you don't have a running back, it just gets bleak. And it's something I don't like. And I'd rather just give me one of these bell cows or give me Gibbs or Taylor at the back end of round 1. And a Saquon round 2 or something like that. And just let me, then I'll build from there. and we'll get going. But that's the only reason I do that. But Sean, we're back. We had to knock the rust off a little bit here, and but now we can finally get cooking. It's always nice to
every chance we get,
grease up the old wheel and do it. And I'm sure we'll have others hop in here too with us, but at least we're getting these rankings out now. And now I get to do some fun work on a plane and hopefully crank these out as I come out to meet you. We're only thank God we're 1 day away, right? One full day. Tomorrow, 2 more sleeps.
Thursday we're going.
2 more sleeps and we'll be there.
Can't wait. I can't wait. It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be so much fun. So many events, so much going on. It's gonna be awesome.
I know it's like nonstop. That's what is pretty fun about this. So it's gonna be a lot of stuff to see, a lot of events to go to, and a crap ton of fun. But go ahead, tell these people where the hell they can find you.
On Twitter or X, whatever you call it. I'm at the green one, THA_green_1. Give me a follow. I'll follow you back. We can chat anytime. Talk how bad my ranks are. How bad you disagree with my AJ Brown, my dark horse to be the wide receiver one.
We can
talk about anything.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know. I mean, injuries, whatnot. Who knows? But he's just the guy. I just love AJ Brown this year.
We both have a 9. It's not like we can. There's not much knocking we can do on him. So we both think very highly.
But we need to get everybody to tune in on Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, depending on where you live. 12:30 Eastern. It's going to be 9:30 Pacific. We're going to be on the Scott Fishbowl
Potathon, people,
for about 30 minutes.
I'm going to flood that link out to all of you. So
yeah, we will get it out to everybody if you guys want to tune in. We'd love to have you. There's going to be people from all over the industry on, starting on early on Saturday morning, all through Saturday night, overnight into Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night.
36 hours, right, or something? He's going
36 hours of nonstop coverage on there. So it's going to be a blast. So tune in.
It's going to be, it'll be fun. And we get to do it from Vegas. So that's what's going to be real fun.
Live in Vegas.
You get to tell them about how well you did.
We'll see how my draft goes and we'll talk about it. We'll definitely talk about it.
And then I get to learn from your mistakes, at least.
Amen to that.
Right. Well, we don't pick in the same spot, though. You're picking one. No. What are you picking?
I'm pick 10. And, you're what, pick 10. 3? So
you abandoned.
We're looking at totally different. I did. Yeah. I like to bounce around. I don't want to lock myself into the same spot. So it's good though. It's good.
I only chose 3 again because I kind of liked how it all went last year. I don't know. It was weird. I kind of like 3 because I can still get a quarterback, and then I don't like picking in the top 2 because those 2 players that you miss out on, if you pick 1 first, let's say,
right,
you might not get a first round skill player back. Like 1 to 2
That's
players.
Why I like 10.
It's critical at that point. Like that's could be the difference between just a huge stud in that second round in nothing. Like you're taking Jordan Love back on that. Like you like him though, so I take that back.
I do.
I'm a Bears fan.
Yeah, I get it. The rivalry. Because Green Bay has owned Chicago since I've been alive, so
But yeah, you can find me. Anyways, Potathon, make sure you do that. You can find me at Streets of Dawn. Same thing on Twitter. Probably posted goofy videos of some sort. Especially as we get cooking here. Especially as I start making some fun videos out of this stuff. With a lot of 90s humor references attached to them. So stay tuned for that. And stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in to the Trailer Park of Fantasy Sports Entertainment. Because it ain't gonna be stuffy here, and we don't even have our Swear King on tonight. So when I go back and listen to I know nobody put $1 in the swear jar tonight. It's weird.
You got one in there.
Did I? Oh, it's usually not me. But no F-bombs.
Well, we know if Tim was here, everybody be broke. So that's cool. I love Tim.
All righty. Well, I'm going to find the outro thingy that I made, and then we're done. We'll see you next time.
Alrighty.
Peace.
See you guys.